So we just came back from our site visit to the Cocopah, Colorado River Limit Restoration Project. And I know it was the first visit out there for the both of you. So what was your first impression of the site?
It's just such a huge area. It was so quiet, except for the little like gunshots we heard in the background. But that was because they were shooting some birds from the fields, is what I understand goes on there. So hopefully that didn't mess up any of my audio when I was recording. But if so, I might have to call you back. And what did you say at this point? But no, it's just a beautiful area. Not a place I had been to before. Not that part of the border exactly. Usually, when I'm covering border issues for KAWC, I'll go to where the large 30-foot fence where it hits the Normandy barriers. That's sort of the focal point for like news gathering and that kind of thing. So I hadn't been out to that area before, but it's very beautiful now, and I can't wait to see what it will look like in the future.
Yeah, and then Joe, while we were driving out there, you were just sharing a little bit about like how it used to look when you were growing up.
Yeah, it was somewhat bittersweet because when I was younger, and my dad and uncle, we would drive out there and along the levee. When part of the river that went up against the levee, would go out and fish there and you'd see how expansive the river was at that time. This is probably in the early 80s, and we go out there and fish. And I mentioned to Jen how substantially wide the river was at the time, and powerful. A lot of power in that water flow back at that time, and the vegetation and the marine life. I guess you could say that for a river. So some experiences happening along there, and seeing it now, it's is a lot different, and seeing how much what was very abundant back then, or maybe it wasn't, maybe it was on a decline already, that I haven't seen maybe 30 years prior. So at that moment now, I'm seeing that where the efforts that's going to go into in the next 40 years, how there's going to be some change that's going to be positive, and hopefully make a big impact for the ecology there as well, not just for our sake as a tribe, but as well as the wildlife and anything else, with hopes that it can be back to a state that it was back in the days years ago.
Yeah, it's really amazing to hear stories like that, because I think hearing all of that really brings the human side of the project into play. A lot of times from my side, we're talking about the environmental benefits, but I've really loved our, partnership and all of the discussions that we've had recently about the cultural side of these projects, and what a great benefit bringing all of these plants back is going to have, and just returning to how things used to be, and giving that opportunity for gathering spaces and just resources that once were here.
Yeah, we hear some of the stories from our elders and them growing up along the river, their pastimes, fishing, swimming, eating along there, and just enjoying it and freely, having the time of their lives. It's a big memory in their lives that they still have today, that's been with them, carried along, because, majority of us, anytime we remember, we still feel that we have, I'm over 50, and I still have that mentality of, the times when I was younger, like teenage years, high school years, and remembering even the moments along, growing up and fishing and seeing that region, and it's still quite fresh in my mind. And even for our elders hearing their stories, and they talk about it, we used to do this, we used to camp out, we'd be there all day, start a fire, we went fishing, however way of they're able to utilize the region for just being kids at the time. And that was great hearing the stories, and that's where you see how much of an impact it was on our people, you know, as of recent, this past century, and you can imagine how much more it was. The river was implemented in their day. You know, without the river, there would be really no Cocopahs, because we wouldn't be in this region without a source of water. Because it's not only us that survived in the water; it was plants and animals. So it was that's central to our existence here, and you hang around long enough, your lunch is going to come to you if you're on the river. It's there already, but then at the same time, it also provided for everything in this region.
Yeah, and then Victor, you get to cover, a lot of stories like environmental. I saw that you cover a lot of border and agricultural stories.
Right.
So what's kind of your perspective, like that bridge between environment and people?
Well, I mean, it's important, right? Because we're all impacted by the environment. We all, have to deal with climate change and what that means for our region. We certainly want to be respectful of not just ourselves, our communities, but we want to be respectful of the wildlife. As far as reporting, that's something that we want to, have that dialogue where we're reporting that news, right? As things come in, we're talking to people about what it means for our region, because it's all tied in together, right? When you talk about the Colorado River, and we do a lot of reporting, and we get reporting as well from up north, from as far as Colorado, and all along the river, we hear about the Colorado River and what that means, because we're all impacted, right? We're the southern end of that river. But it's important to get that out there, just to it's an important topic, and it's obviously vital to this region. And it all, like I said, it's all connected. It's, not just cultural impact and the environment, the river, agriculture. It all sort of ties together. So we want to, as much as possible, that's a bit like key area of focus for us. Is, I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all very important, and it's interesting too. It's not just, here's the science behind it. And if we don't know how to explain something, we're obviously going to go to that official source that is more knowledgeable than us, because we want our listeners to know, here's what's going on, here's what it means for you, here's what it means for this region, here's what it means for ag, for jobs, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I think it's really interesting, like hearing the side of the media, because they do play such a big role in just telling these stories,
Mm-hmm.
the environmental, the cultural stories. And just, getting the word out there, especially for the site that we were looking at. I think it's part of an area that not a lot of people are aware of.
Mm-hmm.
The Colorado, or the Cocopah tribe, is at the end of the Colorado River. They're the last Native American tribe on the river. So, I think just sharing that message and importance of the project is really important. And of course, it's great to have opportunities like this where we're able to share that.
And of course, going along with that, what it means for water, obviously that's a big topic that elected officials and everyday folks talk about and they're concerned about, right? Mm-hmm. We're in a drought. What does that mean? We talk about what's the future going to mean 5-10 years down the road. And obviously that's important that we are having these discussions now, and we address that, and that's something that's being at the local level and obviously at the national level as well, to make sure that our people are respected, that everyone comes to the table, tribal leadership and governmental leadership, that we all have that discussion, and obviously because water is very important in this area.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little today, just all of the partnerships that go into this kind of work. For this project, we teamed up with the National Audubon Society, and they were really instrumental in the whole process, just helping us work through all of the grants and the details of getting to this point in the project. So, I think that's amazing, and all the work that we've done, like with local organizations, the Yuma Crossing National Heritage Area, and just all of the groups locally that are trying to push this type of work forward and really transform the riverbank. Because even me, I remember when I was growing up how different things looked, and like with the Yuma East wetlands, the West wetlands areas, there's really been a lot of great work that's been done, and now, you know, the tribe, I think, is trying our best to be a good leader in that front too. So yeah, it's neat to see with this type of work just how much partnership is really a part of it.
Yeah, partnership is a good thing for all of us because we all benefit from the work that's put in, especially for our environment. Because if we just waste, and just consume, you know, we're gonna one day wake up we have nothing, and we have to. It's has to be sustainable. Whatever we put in, whatever we take out, we need to put back in again, and hopefully with that mindset for our community, not just our tribe, but all over. Everybody has a part to play in making sure that tomorrow is better than it was today, and hopefully with the efforts and the contributions and getting the news out and getting the funding for this to make it happen so that we all have a part in making sure that our future is there and it's vibrant and it's lush and it's green and it's flowing, and we hope to see that be what we have for our grandchildren in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely the goal that we're working towards. So yeah, well, Victor, thanks for coming out on this visit, and yeah, we're looking forward to sharing more about this project.
Thank you. Yes, we'll be there.